Hello. Welcome to the 11th episode of Kinda Unamused. If you're new here, hi, my name is Madeline Perrott, but you're welcome to call me Maddie because we're friends now, whether you like it or not. Last week, I had Heaven on with me, and we talked all about Taylor Swift. I don't know if you guys like that one or not, but it was fun. It was something that I wanted to do with Heaven for a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't listened to it yet, go check it out. This week, I'm obviously alone, back at my apartment, and I actually have some pretty fun and interesting things to talk about. So I am excited. I've been pumped all day to just sit down and do this with you guys. Before I get into it, I need to ask you guys a question. This has been, let me speak clearly. This thought just randomly pops up in my brain quite often, actually. There's two things that I think about at least once a month. The first one is, let me rephrase this. Do you think that animals see cars as just really big, dumb animals? Because obviously they see them move around and, make noises and get from one place to the other, and we're feeding it stuff, and do they think they're just really big dumb animals that can't act for themselves? I was thinking about this because there at my school there are these two geese that made a nest, and right alongside the road near the parking lot, and these geese were constantly attacking people because we're getting near their nest. It makes sense, whatever. I had one of these geese literally fly at my head, and I had to run away from it. It was terrifying. I had never experienced anything like that before. Heaven did warn me. I did not believe Heaven until that very moment that geese are violent creatures. But, so they know, to move out of the way of cars and all that stuff. That's just, I feel like eventually animals learn that those things will kill you if you get in the way. But I was just wondering, do you think that they're just really big animals? Because I think that they know that we're just really big animals that are, maybe they think we're dumber. Yep. Maybe they think we are less intelligent than them, but they know that we're animals. So they think that cars are animals. 2. And this is not something silly like what I just said. This is just something that I'm uneducated in, and I just never thought about it until I guess I didn't think about this for months. Until recently, I thought about this because I was driving, and my car has been causing me some issues recently again, and a cop car drove past me, or I drove past a police department. And since I was thinking about my car issues and I saw the cop car, I was wondering, where the heck do cop cars get services done? Where do they get their oil changed? Where do they get their tires changed? I have occasionally, maybe a handful of times, seen cop cars get gas at the gas station, but it's very rare. I feel like I never see it. But they're cars. They need to get work done sometimes. And sometimes they get into wrecks and stuff, while chasing cars. Speaking of which, I saw a cop car chase. There were 3 cop cars chasing a motorcycle that was going really fast. So that was interesting. I was just wondering that because, for me, whenever I have to get my oil changed or, services done, I go to a place like Valvoline to get my oil changed, or I go to a dealership to get my car fixed. So do they do the same? Or do they have their own little hub to get it done? Something to think about, I guess. Let me know if you know, because I know some people know. There are people out there that have parents that are cops, just in general. If you are a cop and let me know, because I'm interested. Is it just that I have never seen it before, but they do go to normal places? I just don't know. Anyway, so that was interesting. I know you're very interested, and that probably made you stay, didn't it? But I do have something enticing that I saw recently on Instagram. So this has been out for a while. And I'm sure this is new, not new news. January, February, March, April, May, June. So it's been out for about 2 months now. But I didn't know this until recently, that Hollywood Reporter made a top 10, or just like 10 young movie stars that are quote unquote taking Hollywood by storm. And you think about this, and there's obviously a handful of people that just kind of obviously made the list. And none of these people that are on these lists are surprising to me. I'm going to tell you the list, just give me a second. The reason why I was interested is because they gave all these people nicknames. And I was like, oh, what they call this person? What they call that person? So I'm going to tell you because I think it's fun and I think it's interesting. And it is on the Hollywood Reporter if you want to check it out yourself. So it's not listed by like ranking necessarily, like who's better than the other. It's grouping 10 young stars and saying that they're like, the best as of right now. The actual like title of the article is 10 young movie stars taking Hollywood by a storm. So, number 1 on this list, and I came to the conclusion that this was listed through alphabetical order by the last name. So the first one was Austin Butler, and they nicknamed him the Golden Boy, which this just makes so much sense to me because especially recently he's being in more stuff and he's taking on these roles, especially he's in Elvis, Dune 2, and he just came out in a movie called The Bike Riders. I don't know if that movie did very well, if I'm being honest. I work at a movie theater. Not a lot of people went to go see that movie in comparison to others. But those are the movies that he's been in recently, especially in Elvis and Dune. He's been playing very like interesting and kind of complex character. Well, Elvis is interesting. Take it or leave it, I guess. But the character especially he plays in Dune 2 are like full-blown characters, and he really gets into character for them. And also golden because his hair. Like, it just makes so much sense to me. His hair is gold. He just is the golden boy. Next was an obvious one, Timothée Chalamet, and they nicknamed him the Sure Thing, which also makes sense to me because I feel like if people are doing like a fan cast, Timothée Chalamet is in there somewhere. Whether that be a first option or a second option, everyone thinks that he just needs to be in everything. I disagree with this. I'm ashamed to say I was obsessed with him for a while. I watched Call Me by Your Name. Obsessed with him. Like, he was my Hollywood crush for a while. I will have to say that Wonka ruined it for me. I can't look at him the same after that. But he's also known for Dune and Call Me by Your Name, like I said. He's also in other stuff like Lady Bird and other Bones and all, a bunch of other things like that. But whenever people are doing fan casts, he's always in there somewhere. So the Sure Thing definitely makes sense to me. Something that I saw recently about him was, people are talking about a live action Tangled Rapunzel movie, and the voice, I forget this guy's name, but the voice actor of Flynn Rider, he was asked if who he thinks Flynn Rider would be casted as, and he said Timothée Chalamet. And I am quite upset about this. I do not think that Timothée Chalamet should be Flynn Rider. He's not Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider is not him. If Ben Barnes was younger, I would cast Ben Barnes. But he's too old. Anyway, the next one was Jacob Elordi. Woo! I love that man. His nickname is the Shy Heartthrob. Once again, just yes. He's a giant. He is so tall, yet he is so sweet and innocent and just he is known for being Elvis in the movie Priscilla, Saltburn, and Euphoria. He's also in The Kissing Booth. I don't think he liked doing that movie, but he is in it. So there's that. Love him to freaking death. Next this is the one in the entire list that I don't really know. And his name is Paul Mescal. I probably pronounced that last name incorrectly. His nickname was the Art House Prince. And he is most known for Normal People, After Sun, and Gladiator 2. Gladiator 2 is coming out soon, and it's coming out the same day as Wicked. So people are comparing it to the Oppenheimer and Barbie situation. I did not know that he was going to be in that movie, but I think I've seen the first one, the first Gladiator, but I'm going to have to rewatch it if I want to watch that one again. But I've never really been that interested in like that type of movie. But he's going to be in that apparently. Next is another given, Jenna Ortega. And her nickname is the Gen Z Obsession. That just explains her to a freaking T. She is a really good actor. I love her as well. I love the majority of the people that are on this list. She's best known for being in the upcoming movie Beetlejuice, Wednesday, which is a show, and then the newer Scream movies. She's also in a bunch of different things as well, but that's what she's in right now, or has been in the past. But yeah, Gen Z is definitely obsessed with her. She is on the younger side, so I guess that can be a good explanation. I think she's definitely the youngest one on this list. She's in her early 20s. I think we might be the same age. I think she might be 21. Okay, next is he is probably my current celebrity male crush. And that's Glenn Powell. That man. Oh my, I would say it's probably like an in-between of Jacob Elordi and Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell is definitely older. He's in his 30s. I don't think that Jacob Elordi might be in his early 30s, but I think he's still in his late 20s. He is in a bunch of stuff, Glenn Powell. You may not know it, because he's always like a side character, or has been in the past. But he's like in Top Gun, Spy Kids. Things that he's in right now or has been best known for is Anyone But You, Twisters, which go freaking watch that movie if you haven't seen it yet. And go check out my TikTok because I got a movie poster of that movie. Anyway, I digress. And then the show Scream Queens. I love that man, and I love his dog, Brisket. Next is Florence Pugh. This is another given. I associate her in kind of like the same realm as Timothée Chalamet. She is best known for Don't Worry Darling, Oppenheimer, in Midsummer or Midsommar. She's also in movies like she's in the Marvel universe now. She's also in Little Woman and a couple other things. She's in a movie with The Rock. And her nickname is the Chameleon, which this also makes so much sense to me. Most of these make sense to me for the most part. She is about to be in a movie with, I don't remember his name. She's going to be in a new sad movie, is all I know. She's going to be with one of the Spider-Mans. But she's definitely a chameleon. She just knows how to place herself into the character that she's supposed to be portraying. And I love that. I love her. Next is Sydney Sweeney. And her nickname is the Hustler, which, I mean, period. She's been really just going at it. She's best known for Anyone But You, Euphoria, and Immaculate. And I would say she's probably the most controversial one, just because a lot of people don't think that this is stupid. A lot of people think that she just uses her body to get the work. That's not what I'm saying. She just, like, her body is her, like, ticket into the movies, I guess. Like, people only hire her for her body, and I disagree with that. I think that she is a really great actress, and she's she's relatively young for the most part. She's in her mid-20s, maybe late 20s. I think she's in her mid-20s though, and like, she's still getting her little zing. She's figuring it out, and I love it. She was in Anyone But You with Glenn Powell, and it's one of my favorite rom-coms. People will disagree with me on that, but it's one of my favorite, and that's all that matters. Next is Anya Taylor-Joy, and her nickname is the Genre Queen, which, she's best known for The Queen's Gambit, Furiosa, and The Menu, and each of those movies are very different. I mean, I guess The Queen's Gambit is a show, but the other two are movies, and they are very different in the genre realm. The Queen's Gambit, I've never seen it before. I've heard it's a very good show. It's about chess, like chess competitions, and I think a little bit of like a drama. and stuff. Furiosa is a part of the Mad Max saga. So if you know about Mad Max, it's like, that's a thing. And then the menu is like, it gets into your brain. There's like the genre that's on Google is comedy/horror. It's like kind of like a, not necessarily psychedelic, you think, you know? It has the actor of Voldemort in it. And it is really good. I really like that movie. But they're all, like I said, all those shows and movies are very different. She's also in Split, which I think is the first movie I ever saw her in. And that movie is pretty good too. Last but definitely not least, is Zendaya, and her nickname is the Unicorn. This nickname is one of the only nicknames that like I'm like, what does that necessarily like mean? You know, is it just because she's just so magical and beautiful and a great actress that she's just kind of like impossible, but she's there? That's how I take it. She's impossible, but she's real. And she is best known for Euphoria, Dune, and The Challengers. She's been on Disney before, and she's also in Spider-Man. So yeah, there's the Golden Boy, the Sure Thing, Shy Heartthrob, the Art House Prince, the Gen Z Obsession, I didn't say what Glenn Powell's was. I am so sorry. His nickname is the Megawatt Smile, which if you've seen him smile, you know why. The chameleon, the hustler, the genre queen, and the unicorn. I feel so bad about that, guys. I'm so sorry. So yeah, I hope you found that as interesting as I did, because I just found it fun and interesting. But I digress. I'm going to now talk about Jelly Bean Sweets. If you don't know who that is, she is a TikTok creator who is best known for mukbangs. But it's not just like, mukbangs in general are kind of, it's supposed to just be eating in front of the camera and like talking and eating and just eating in front of the camera. I've done one or two in my lifetime. She does it a lot of people do it excessively. They have a shit ton of food and they just eat all of it. But for her, my hair, sorry. But for her, she doesn't just eat a bunch of food. She shoves it into her mouth. And like, she barely swallows. She just goes, swallow, and just has like a whole mouthful of food. And the reason why I'm bringing her up is because I don't know if this is just me, but people have been talking about her so much recently because of her rapid weight gain. I'm pretty sure she slowly started to get her fame since last year, and now she's at the point where she's almost at 1 million followers, and all of her content is just eating food. And it's not just like normal food, like everyday food, like eggs and toast and chicken and, things that you make at home. It's fast food. It's Chick-fil-A, it's McDonald's, I think she's best known for Taco Bell. And she eats an excessive amount. She eats like, it's like a whole meal and some, like there's extra sides, there's a whole cup of sauce, there's a whole cup of like sauce. It's just a lot of freaking food. It's a lot of food. And I'm not shaming her for this, like, at all. I'm just bringing this up because people are talking about her a lot and talking about her weight gain. They're so concerned for her, and they're saying we care about you. You need to stop eating. You need to not stop eating, but you need to stop eating so much. You're obviously gaining a bunch of weight, and it probably doesn't have good health. Your health has probably declined a bunch because of what you're eating and how much you're eating it. But my thing is that you guys are following this girl. You guys are giving her these likes and these comments, and she's only doing this because you guys are giving her money. You guys are fueling this. And I bet you she's over there looking at herself in the mirror and being like, wow, I really have gained a lot of weight, or, I am not dealing with this well, but I have to do this because this is giving me money. TikTok gives you bank. TikTok gives you so much money when you start to get to the top, once you start to slowly creep up up there. So giving her these likes, these follows, these views, these comments, even if they're comments saying that you need to stop, even if they're hate comments, it's still fueling her site. It's still fueling her account. Therefore, pushing her account to be on the For You page and giving her more money. The more videos you make talking about her directs people to her page to therefore give her more money, to therefore make her want to keep on making these videos that are giving her the money. I'm not saying that she can't stop, because she can. And who knows what her mental, capacity is right now. Maybe this is a coping mechanism. Maybe she is solely just doing it for the views, which is probably the most likely chance. And once again, I'm not bashing her for this. I'm bashing the people that are telling her that she needs to stop, because you guys are the ones that are fueling her to do it. It's crazy to me. Like, the whole concept of this is just like, is crazy to me. It's like dangling a freaking cat toy in front of a cat and telling the cat not to play with it. Of course the cat's gonna freaking play with it. You're giving it the toy. It's so silly to me. My heart goes out for that girl. I hope that she learns balance. I hope that behind the camera, she's taking care of her body in other ways, and it's solely just for views. My main concern is that I hope that she doesn't develop an eating disorder because of this. I just hope that she stays healthy. And I think the best thing for people to do, if you're genuinely so concerned about her and about her health and whatever, and if you think the best thing for her to do is to stop making these videos, then stop watching them. Stop liking them. Stop saving them. Stop talking about them. I digress. She seems like such a sweet girl too. She's just doing her thing. She's enjoying her time. And making a mukbang once in a while, I think that she should just balance it more to where do it twice a week instead of every day, and then make other videos. She also likes to dance. Make some dancing videos, That was my rant. Next, I want to get into something that also fuels, I don't know if it makes me angry. I don't know what honestly I feel about it, but I'm going to talk about it. And this thing is ballerina farms. It's also another thing on TikTok. You've probably heard about it. It's been on my TikTok For You page for a couple days now. If you don't know what ballerina farms is, I didn't know what it was either until a couple days ago. Never heard of them before. I'm not on that farm life, home cook meals, milking cows type TikTok. I'm not. So whenever that type of content started popping up on my For You page, I was like, what is going on? Who is this pretty lady milking this cow and why? So Ballerina Farms is a TikTok account that revolves around this family that lives on a farm. They're extremely wealthy, and the mom, she's kind of like the star of the show. She's the one in control of the account for the most part. And she makes her food for her 7 or 8 children. She makes food from them from scratch every day, every single day. Girl, I hope you enjoy that, because I can barely make myself dinner, let alone 8 children, and making it healthy and making it from freaking scratch. Anyway, that's what most of her content is about. And recently, since they have millions of followers, a lot of people like this type of content because it's interesting. It's I don't know what trad wives mean, but that's what everyone's calling her, their type of lifestyle, her lifestyle or whatever. Since they have gained so much recognition over the years, apparently New York Times has done an article over interviewing this family, but specifically the mom, because she's a trad wife. She does a lot in the family, and their story is interesting because she is kind of a ballerina, a legitimate ballerina. She got I heard she got a full ride to Juilliard. She was that much of a legitimate ballerina, and she was really good. And so she went to school to Juilliard, and she met her now husband named Daniel. Their last name is Nealman. Apparently they met while she was in Utah over a Thanksgiving break in college. He studied at Brigham Young University. He's from Connecticut. They currently live in Utah. He is the son of a man that owns an airline, so he's been, pretty wealthy his entire life. They met in college and they pretty much started a family right away while she was in school still. I don't know if he was still in school, but she definitely was. And she got pregnant. Not only was she a ballerina, but she was also a pageant queen, and she was crowned Miss America, Miss Utah America. I'm not exactly sure, but she was crowned. She is a pageant queen, literally. And she kind of gave all that up to marry Daniel and go live on a farm. They used to live in New York City. I think they said that they lived there for like a year or so, and then they had the baby, and then they were like, well, Daniel was like, this isn't the life I want to live. Let's go live on a farm. And so she was like, okay, I guess. She wanted to finish school, figure out things after that, but that's not what ended up happening. And they now live on a farm. They've been living on for years, and now they have 7 kids, if not 8 on the way, or she just gave birth to an 8th. I don't know exactly. I don't follow them. People are talking about them because of this New York Times article and how much they feel so bad for this lady. What is her name? Her name is Hannah Nielsen. This is a part of the article that I wanted to read to you guys to kind of get a gist, an idea of why people feel bad for her, I guess. So it says, our first few years of marriage were really hard. We sacrificed a lot, she says. But we did have this vision, this dream, and Daniel interrupts. We still do. What kind of sacrifices? I ask her. Well, I gave up dance, which is hard. You give up a piece of yourself, and Daniel gave up his career ambitions. I look out at the vastness and don't totally agree. Daniel wanted to live in the great western wilds, so they did. He wanted to farm, so they do. He likes date nights once a week, so they go. They have a babysitter on those evenings. He didn't want nannies in the house, so there aren't any. The only space earmarked to be Hannah's own, a small barn she wanted to convert into a ballet studio, ended up becoming the kids' schoolroom. And then it kind of goes on to where it says, like, Daniel wants to take me to see the new dairy farm buildings on their farm, to go see what it says. Okay, it continues. Daniel wants to take me to see the new dairy farm buildings, while Nealman, Hannah, goes back into the house to make lunch for the quote-unquote kiddos. We stop at an irrigation ditch, which he explains, the offices, which he explains, the milking stations, which he explains. I check my watch, feeling edgy. I want to talk to Nealman, Hannah. Just one more stop, he says. Nealman calls him. Okay, he says to her. We're just heading your way, he adds, driving in the opposite direction out into the fields to show me another ditch. Finally, we get back into the kitchen, sitting at a table surrounded by the ever-changing number of children. One is clattering a can opener next to my tape recorder. Another is pulling a whole roast chicken from the aga. The 3 more gather around it with forks, eating it from the pan. Other spills a pail of milk over on the floor. We have half an hour to talk before Nealman has to take some of them to the ballet class. There was something else that I wanted to read. The article is interesting. It's long. I haven't read all of it. They kind of talk about how throughout the entire interview, Daniel was always kind of answering for Hannah, was just very involved in this interview that was supposed to be about Hannah and really only Hannah. They also talked about like all of her pregnancies and giving birth and all this stuff, and she gave birth without any sort of like medical help, aka like medications to help the pain, except for one time where the birth was very hard, and that one time Daniel was not there during the time that this isn't necessarily like a bad thing, but he wasn't there. So she asked for I'm blanking on what it's called. Here, this is what it says. She also gave birth to them without pain relief. None at all. She shakes her head. Why? I don't know. I just never loved taking it. She stops herself. Except with Martha. I was 2 weeks overdue and she was 10 pounds, and Daniel wasn't with me. She lowers her voice. Daniel is currently out of the room taking a phone call. So I got an epidural, and it was an amazing experience. I don't want to really talk about this as if Daniel is a bad dad, a bad husband or whatever, but he's definitely lacking in some parts. She sacrificed literally so much to be his wife, to be his mother to his children. Instead of living in New York City, being a ballerina, or just retiring from being a ballerina, she's now freaking on her hands and knees milking a cow because you choose to not get food and stuff from the grocery store. She's making dinners every night. She's making breakfast, lunch, and dinner from scratch every single night and day. And they do say that Daniel does help with certain things like food and cleaning and all that stuff. It's not like he just makes her do all this stuff, but she's the main person. They have their own business. They're entrepreneurs. They are very, very wealthy people. So he's always off, doing farm work or, whatever he does for their whatever business they have. And a lot of the times she's at home preparing food or cleaning the house. And that just kind of is the way that it is. This article came out, and also a video came out that's extremely controversial. That made people kind of be like, okay, wait, Daniel, something's going on. Something is not great. It was her birthday. I don't know how recent this was, but it was her birthday. And he gives her a present that wasn't wrapped, first of all. It was just in a box. And she was like, "Oh, this is my present from Daniel. I really hope it's tickets." I think it was to Greece. "I really hope it's tickets to Greece." And he was just laughing like, "Okay, open it. And she's opening it. She's like, "I really hope it's tickets to Greece. Do you think it's tickets to Greece?" Like, she's talking to her kids, and she just keeps on saying that she really, really freaking wants to go to freaking Greece. And she opens it, and then she sees some fabric, and she's like, "Ooh, is it a hat to wear to Greece?" And then she opens it fully, and it's a freaking egg apron. An egg apron that looks like it wasn't even cute. It looked like a homemade project. It looked like he tried to figure it out himself, how to crochet. It was a crocheted looking homemade freaking apron for eggs. And she put it on. She's like, "Oh, it's an egg apron." And she puts it on. He's like, "You're welcome." She says, "Thank you, honey. I love it." Freaking, you guys are so wealthy. Okay, maybe if you don't even go to Greece, give her something that she actually wants. It's her birthday. Don't give her something that she needs. Give her something that she wants. I bet she can't even use that freaking thing, because I've seen how many eggs they get from those freaking chickens, and I promise you it is so much more than what that freaking ranky dinky little snarly ass egg apron can hold. Take her to freaking New York City. Give her something that she actually wants. So that's what people saw that video and were like, "Okay, red flag. Something's happening. I don't like this. I don't like the way that he's talking to you." And then the article came out, and now everyone's just kind of like, something's going on, and everyone just feels bad for her. All this to say, she does say she loves being a mother. I think that she genuinely does. I think that she genuinely does like making all this food from scratch, and I do think that she's learned to love her life. I just hope that Daniel, because we don't know what's actually going on behind those screens, I just hope that Daniel does fulfill every need and want of hers. Specifically the wants, but also the needs. I hope they're genuinely as happy as that they say that they are, and I hope that she does get a break sometimes. Because even Daniel said himself that she gets so exhausted from how much work that she does that she can't get out of bed for a straight week. That's a sign that you need at least some sort of childcare, like a nanny. She can't be freaking wearing herself so thin that she can't get out of bed. And that's a fact. He genuinely did say that. Go check it out. go form your own opinion. I don't have that much of an opinion. I just feel bad, and I hope that it gets better. I'm not a part of their life. It's just interesting to see how other people's lives go. Like Jelly Bean. Yeah, I called her Gummy Bear yesterday. I should probably go. I have to go pick up Heaven from the bus station because we're going to hang out. I'm so excited. But yeah, I'll see you soon, Heaven. And hope you guys liked this episode. I didn't have a story from a viewer this time around or a rant or anything like that. So if you're interested in having your story, or if you want to talk to me, like tell me something interesting or rant to me, feel free to email me at kindaunamusedpod@yahoo.com, or you can DM me at madrosepie on Instagram. And yeah, you can also follow me on all my socials at madrosepie. That includes YouTube, especially if you want to watch the video version of this podcast, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also follow me on my Pinterest at A Dandelion Days. I might be changing that name soon, so we'll see how that goes. Everything is linked below, so you don't have to go seeking and finding it yourself. And yeah, I enjoyed talking to you guys, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, y'all.